Lagos, with a reported population of about 21 million, is Africa's largest metropolitan area and the 7th megacity in the world. This position comes with a lot of expectations on the part of citizens and a lot of performance-related development on the part of government. Because no one lives in isolation. Tax Naira from a variety of sources benefit you, your family and neighbors, no matter the size of income and where you live.
Pay your tax, pay your tax, pay your tax, that's not by force, pay your tax, tax is compulsory. I want to negotiate beyond you must pay your tax.
Indeed, as blood is to the body, so is taxation to the existence of a modern state and society. A good tax system ensures that roads are constructed, living standards of the people improved, and it also provides funding for government to meet its never-ending responsibilities. With Nigeria's dwindling revenue from oil, it is therefore important for any responsible government to promote an enduring tax system. The Lagos State government under Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2005 understood this and took a bold step of reconstituting tax administration in the state. The Lagos State Revenue Administration Law 2005 was assented into law on the 13th of March 2006 by then Governor Tinubu. The law established the Lagos State Board of Internal Revenue and an operational arm known as the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, LIRS. Mr. William Babatunde Fowler was appointed executive chairman of the new LIRS.
Well, in 2005, the state was generating an average of about 3.6 billion per month, and they were still getting used to the idea of compliance, tax compliance. We had a lot of people in what we call the organized private sector that decided what they wanted to pay. And so coming in, we first of all had to meet with various groups and let them understand that there are laws in place. Let them also understand that we expect them to be 100% compliant. It became a bit difficult because the question they would ask is that, well, you've just come new. This is how we have been doing it. Everyone has been happy about the performance so far. And I had to let them know that it's not a situation of this is how we've been doing it or whether people are happy or not. That the only thing that we'll be satisfied with is if they're 100% compliant. And so you had organizations who are paying maybe an average of 10 to 12 million naira in tax per year, going up to 100 million. So to them, it was a bit of a financial shock. We had discussions with MAN, we had discussions with NECA.
Our members received demand notices from the Lagos State government in terms of their failure to pay the appropriate taxation and levies to the Lagos State government. And that was about 10 years ago. And they ran to us as their voice.
Because anytime we went to insist on the tax payment, they'll go back to complain that they were being harassed and that we were disturbing their business.
And we did a letter to the tax administrator. And to our surprise, and quite unlike the experiences we have had in time past, they extended the invitation to us to come and have a discussion with them on the issues at stake.
However, they were very helpful, very understanding.
And I really want to commend them for keeping to the spirit and letter of the understanding we had several years past.
Once they saw we're doing the right thing, I can safely say and thankfully say that MAN and NECA, being law-abiding associations, give us and has given us their full support to date.
I want to say that the past 10 years has been the best of time in terms of relationship between private sector business, which we represent, and the tax administrator.
When the LIRS board took office, tax compliance in Lagos was at an all-time low. the board went to work employing a combination of strategies that have changed tax administration not only in Lagos State, but nationwide.
Well, first of all, our objective and our vision was to have at least 99.9% of residents in Lagos paying tax, and also to have them 100% compliant. And you ask me how?
Well, the strategy tends to be like four pronged approaches: education, enlightenment, engagement, and lastly, enforcement. So the first thing we did was to first and foremost educate the taxpaying public on the need for them to pay their taxes as at when due. That led to serious enlightenment program, which we embarked on extensively. Enlightenment on radio, television, road shows, and the engagement of artists and notable individuals within the society to help canvass the need for people to pay their taxes.
Hit the organized private sector.
We spoke to them, we collaborated with them.
They're the ones that keep records. They're the ones that have got numerous shareholders. Some of them are PLCs, some of them are government agencies. We had their figures. We had the will to do what we had to do. And so we gave them the demand notices for outstanding tax payments, and they knew that we were ready to take them to court and to shut down the operations.
If after all said and done, this company still refuse to pay, we go to court now, get an order of the court, and then we go there to the strain.
We did shut down a number of banks. We shut down a few telecom organizations.
This past 7-8 years, for the organized sector of the economy, the compliance level is risen to about 90%.
We have had a database, a comprehensive and robust database of all the companies in Lagos State. And in turn, we do get new information about new companies, and then we audit all identified companies every year.
Basically, the essence is to go out, look at the information about the company, look at that information as per their tax compliance, and make sure they don't give us any information that would jeopardize the liability that we are going to extract for a company.
We've invested a lot in automation and computerization of the processes of tax audits. And this in turn has made the outcomes of tax audits accurate and very acceptable to the companies.
That forms the bulk of the revenue that we receive. They account for close to 65 to 70% of the revenue. And then you've got the informal sector and the different sectors within that. You have the market women, you've got the professionals, you have the skilled labor force. And so we're slowly getting them also into the tax net. So we grew from an average of about 220,000 taxpayers in 2005 or thereabout to about 4.5 million that we have today.
In January 2008, the self-assessment filing system for individuals was initiated. It was the first of its kind in Nigeria.
We have the self-assessment form where you have to pick in any of the offices or even in any of our designated banks. You go there and pick your self-assessment forms. You do it yourself. At the back of the form, you will see your income. You can determine your income. You can determine your tax. You don't have to come in contact with the tax officers before payments are being made.
The introduction of self-assessment forms, a one-page form, has made it convenient for people to pay tax in Lagos State. And that has translated to easy compliance.
And to further block leakages, LIRS prohibited its staff from collecting cash or check payments from and on behalf of taxpayers.
So our first step was to stop all tax administrators, meaning all our staff, to make it an offense to collect any cash for any taxpayer, to collect any check from any taxpayer. And we said they have to pay directly to the bank.
So that there won't be any dispute whatsoever about a taxpayer claiming that he has given money to the staff of LIRS.
Anyone who is caught even helping or collecting any tax revenue is dismissed.
All monies must be paid directly by the taxpayer straight to the bank.
Then secondly, for people who don't know, as chairman, I've never been a signatory to any revenue accounts, and neither have any of my directors, so we don't have any direct access to the tax revenue being paid. It's all paid straight into designated banks, and that money goes straight to what we call the consolidated revenue accounts of Lagos State, and that money is handled by the Ministry of Finance.
Universally, there is a suspicion and lack of trust between the taxpayer and the taxman. To bridge this divide, LIRS established the Relationship Management Unit.
The idea is for the unit to bridge the gap. One, to educate the taxpaying public, to identify where they are, who they are, how they play in their various sectors, to find out their needs, and to ensure that they already get it right with us. And in trying to put that together, we identify the thriving sectors in Lagos State, and we put together a team of, sound guys, qualified guys called account officers. We allowed an account officer to run each sector.
To act as a go between the taxpayers and the tax authority.
And as of date, we have what we call a 98% compliance level, meaning that before we even do the annual audit, on their own, they remit taxes due to Lagos State government as when due.
Say you don't pay your own tax. If you pay your tax, I pay.
I pay.
I pay, oh!
They pay their taxes. You should.
Continuous taxpayer education and enlightenment on radio and television have strengthened compliance and expanded the tax net.
We have a unit that we call TEAT, and that means Tax Education and Enlightenment Teams. We have two sectors in this unit. We have the formal sector and the informal sector. For the formal teams, they resume in the office and they go from this office across the whole of Lagos State. For the informal sector, they are permanently based inside some notable markets in Lagos State, and some are also in some of our tax stations, very prominent in market areas. So what we do primarily is to educate, enlighten, and sensitize the public as a whole. In doing this, we will identify those in the tax net and those who are not in the tax net. And those not in the tax net, we ensure through sensitization that bring them into the tax net. Traders don't like to leave their shops for any purpose. So that was the reason why we created these mini stations inside 40 major markets across Lagos State.
We went to Alaba Market, and there, most of the traders there don't keep accurate records. And we put it to them that if you sell well in a particular day, or you have a good customer, and your customer asks for some type of equipment and you don't have it, and you wanted to get it from your warehouse or from your fellow trader, what would you do? And they said, well, they'll ask them to sit in their shop and give them a bottle of Coke. And so I said, well, do you know what? We pray that you have good sales deals every day in a month, so that how much would you spend in a month giving Coke to good clients? And they came up with 2,500. So I said, well, government wants you to give it 2,500 per year as tax to show your contribution towards the government. And that's how we came up with the minimum tax rate of 2,500.